Welcome to the Sexy Freedom Media Podcast, a place to discuss pain, passion, and pursuits.
Let's get it. I want to feel alive.
Breathe.
Make some moves.
Protect the throne. This is Sexy Freedom Media Podcast.
Welcome to the Sexy Freedom Media Podcast. It's your host, Helen Edwards, and
January, Liddell, aloha.
today we're going to be a little bit more playful. We're going to talk about owning your uniqueness and embracing your true design. And that actually starts with us, with January and I. So we're going to share some of our own uniqueness, quirkiness, our own weirdness, things that we have once thought were maybe some of our insecurities that we've learned to embrace over time, and some of our weirdness and quirkiness that we're still maybe unsure about rocking with, but we're learning how to embrace still. January, can you name like one or two of your weird things about you that you're still maybe trying to embrace? Let's start with the ones we're still working on.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you, I struggled with this one, and this is why I struggled. I struggled with this thought because what I do, I feel like is normal. So then it might be weird to everybody else, but for me, I just kept thinking, what do I do that's weird? What do I do that's unique? And to me, it was like, it's just me, it's just normal. It's just, what I do on a regular basis. So I loved one of the things that you said was that you put lotion on and then you have to wash it off because it feels weird. That is totally me. It does feel kind of strange, and it's hard for me to like open doors and things when but I feel like I need the lotion. But for me, one of the things that I do that I'm still working on that's weird or quirky is probably I really like to do family things, like group things. And I know that's probably weird for some people, like the whole matching shirts, matching stuff, and I know people are like, oh my gosh, she's so weird, because she does a lot of stuff that's just matching, or like my Halloween costumes, right? It's always like a family thing. And I know my husband, my children, they just go along with it, but I know that's probably weird for them. They're like, I just want to do my own thing. And I'm like, but no, we got to do this family thing. So that's still something, I guess it's weird, and I guess I'm still kind of working on it, but I actually love it. And the pictures look amazing. So I'm like, nah, we're just gonna keep on doing the family matching. And we match at Disney World, we match at on the cruise, we match, sometimes we match at church. So I know I'm like, so that's me, still working on it. How about you, Helen? What do you do that's weird and that you're still working on?
Okay, when I talk, I try not to get in my head about the way I sound as I'm in the current flow of talking. Like, for example, right now, right now, I'm like, Helen, stay out of your head, just flow with it, you're fine. Because I have this idea of myself that I trip over my words a lot. And sometimes when I'm editing our episodes, I hear myself say is or are, or sometimes is and are roll together as an uzlar. Like, you know what I mean? It's just my words don't come out as beautiful and articulate, and as some people say, open your mouth so I can hear you, sound it out right, sound it out better. And I always get in my head about that. And then also, along with communication for me, it's where do my eyes look? Do I look to my left? Do I look to my right? Especially when I'm thinking or I can't figure out a word. I often, if you've watched our videos, I look up. I look up. And I think why I look up is because, and I'm looking down, I am purposely looking down. The reason my eyes move up is one, because I'm searching. That's where I look when I'm searching. And two, um, for some reason, I'm looking at my brain and I'm trying to find the files because I'm a visual person. So I'm actually invisibly trying to look for the files in my mind for certain words because it doesn't just come to me and flow to me so easily. And which is ironic because we podcast a part of our business and part of, our audience gets to listen to us. And I always think, wow, they must think we're pretty good if they're still listening to us. And then I get hard on myself and I'm like, especially when I'm re-editing, I'm like, you know what? You didn't do as bad as you thought you did. You didn't. You're fine. You're okay. You're in the clear. You made it sound good. So that's definitely one of my weird, quirky things that I'm actually still working on. I'm still working on how to become a better communicator. I'm trying to slow down. I'm trying to think before I say things. I'm trying not to go too fast. And I'm trying to trust that I will find those files with those words that I need to say.
Girl, you are so awesome that you do that, that you are looking through your brain, sifting through the files. I do love that. I don't I don't think it's weird. You may think it's weird. I think it's genius. I think it's brilliant that you do that. And our bodies are wired just the way they are in terms of how we move our eyes, how we move our hands, how we move our head, just and our resting, our rest sometimes we have that resting bitch face, right? And we don't mean to have the resting bitch face. I'll tell my daughter this, I'll say, Nina, this is when she gets introduced to somebody and she doesn't really like that person or she's not comfortable with that person. She has this face and I'll tell her, I'm like, hey, you gotta watch out your RBF because this is like showing. But I do like the fact that you look up. I didn't notice that, but I love that you notice and you're very aware of it. I think when go ahead.
Well, no, you mentioned face, and I was going to say that's another unique thing to embrace. A part of our true self is the uniqueness of our looks. And, a lot of teenagers and young kids deal with this where they don't like who they are. They don't like, they're comparing. They're comparing because that's kind of the thing you do. You're trying to find your group, your people when you're young. In fact, you kind of do it when you get older too, is you're trying to find your group, except you're learning how to let go of all that comparison. And one of the things, I was just having this conversation with my sister Kathy yesterday about how her hair is just like rambunctious. She has a lot of hair. She called it ethnic hair. She's got the big curly spongy hair and it's freaking beautiful. Like I have wanted her hair my whole entire life. And I've always been envious of my sisters and my brother's hair, like their hair, not just their hair, their eyelashes. All of them have curly eyelashes. So my mom had 5 kids and 4 of them came out with beautiful curly eyelashes, beautiful curly hair, wavy hair, just all natural, thick. I mean, thick as a bone. Is a bone thick? I don't know, but thick, very thick. And they all came out with well, except Melissa, but colored eyes. So hazel eyes, light brown eyes, just gorgeous, beautiful eyes. So they got their curly eyelashes, their curly hair, their thick hair, and beautiful colored eyes. And I remember just thinking, I'm so jealous. Like even my sister Melissa, who came out with really dark eyes, still has beautiful hair, curly eyelashes. And then there's me. And then there's me. And I felt like the ugly duckling of the bunch because, and you know what? They used to also say that to me when I was younger, like, oh, you're like the ugly duckling. But they said it in a really nice way because for them, they knew how much I felt left out. So they would say, you're like the ugly duckling, which meant you're going to turn into a beautiful swan. If you know the ugly duckling story, the ugly duckling turns into a swan. And becomes the most beautiful. And I'm not saying I'm more beautiful than them, but they would say that to comfort me because they knew, oh my gosh, Helen didn't come out with curly eyelashes. Her hair is straight, it's thin. She has straight eyelashes, high cheekbones. She kind of looks like a boy. Like that's how what they used to say to me when I was little, and I always felt so left out. So as I've grown up, I've realized a number of things. One, I had a different blood dad. I say blood dad because my dad and their dad we're all the same dad, but I had a different DNA for my making, right? For how I came to be. That explained a lot, and I didn't know that till I was 17. So that really explained a lot. I'm like, oh, okay, no wonder I look different. Two, I'm also Latina and Native American, so I have a very unique Native American features, which I didn't embrace at all because we weren't born and raised on the reservation. You know, we didn't grow up in that community. We grew up in the Hispanic and Black community. So I didn't know a lot of things and I didn't know what else to compare myself to besides a certain type of culture, which I didn't fit the mold 100%. Now, now I'm older and wiser and more loving to myself and way more embracing. And I'm like, gosh, you're so freaking beautiful. I love you. You know what I mean? Do you know what I'm talking about, January?
You are beautiful. You're beautiful inside and out. And I love that your sisters were cheering you on and showing you a different perspective. That's one thing I do love about your sisterhood with your bio sis, because I'm your sis too, but bio sis. Your bio sis is that you just love on each other. And I see how strong that bond is. So I love it. And yes, you are beautiful inside and out. I think the whole ethnicity thing, when I was growing up, I wanted the blonde hair and the blue eyes. Like I saw that that was beautiful. So as a child, that was what I was clinging to. So I was envious of people who were lighter skinned than me. And I went to an elementary school. Well, there were two elementary school that I went to. So the first elementary school was Ella Beach International School, and that was in Papua New Guinea. And in that school, it was international, meaning that there were people from Germany, Pakistan, Australia, everywhere. So that was my world until I was 10. And I didn't see anything weird. I didn't see anything different. We were just children enjoying school. The whole boy girl thing, like, I'll show you mine if you show me yours. Because we're just little kids. You're like, what is that? But in any case, that was my first school where I was introduced to the world and I didn't see me as different. When I moved to the States, I was about 10, moved to the States, and I went to a all Irish school, St. Cecilia's in San Francisco. And I was one of probably five Filipinos in this school. And I just remember thinking how different I was. I remember thinking how I wanted to look like, my other classmates. And then I felt weird. That was the moment that I felt weird and I felt like I didn't belong, or I didn't look like the other person, or I wasn't as fashionable or as as the other ethnicity. And in any case, as time progressed, I went to another school. I went to an all-girls school, and that all-girls school, Mercy High School, San Francisco. That's my alma mater. And in that school, there was a whole bunch of us, different ethnicities. And that's probably where I embraced my own ethnicity and really saw everybody as beautiful, because in this school was all girls. So there was no pretense in terms of at least for me, there was no pretense. Like I could say, "Hey, can I have a pad?" And it's not weird, right? Because it's all girls. So you can ask for a pad and they'll just like toss it off, like, "Here you go." So I think at that point it was more of, yes, I'm Filipina. Yes, there's so many other Filipinos around me. There's Latinas, there's Blacks, there's Caucasians, there's Native Americans. There was a whole bunch of different ethnicities. So it was back to where when I was in my old elementary school where I saw the world. And so for me, like embracing that part was awesome because I did feel weird. I felt weird when I was at St. Cecilia's, but once I got to Mercy, I'm like, oh, okay, I see people that look like me. Okay, cool. But I'm gonna share just another fun thing about what I think is weird. So when I watch TV, there's a couple things I do when I watch TV. When I watch TV, and you know this, Helen, because we both watched that show. I will talk to the TV. If something is pissing me off, if I see like non-common sense things that are happening on TV, I'm like, what the? What? And then I'll just start yelling at the TV or football. I love watching football. Football is probably one of my favorite sports to watch. And my mom actually has a video of me acting like on the TV, and like I'm like reacting to the TV and I'm yelling, I'm screaming. And anyway, so I do respond to the TV like it's like actually in front of me and talking to me, and I feel like that person is talking to me. And so, but the other weird thing that I do is I also add sounds. So I add like sound effects. So if I'm watching something and like there's like a karate thing, I'm like shh. And I don't realize that I'm doing it until my son is like,
That's so
"What
funny.
did you do?" And I'm like, nothing. Yeah, so I love sound effects.
Oh my God. So it's almost like you don't have road rage, but you've got television rage where you're just like, I will tell you off. The sound effects is pretty funny. It kind of reminds me of where a lot of people have to have subtitles on in order to hear the show.
I feel like it adds a different layer when I add my sound effects, and it probably just adds whatever is going on in my mind. And so it makes it more colorful and more real to me. And so I do the sound effects, and I do talk to myself. So that's another, I think everyone talks to
I
themselves
think
though.
talking to yourself is pretty normal, whether you do it out loud or inside your head. Uh, and that's totally normal, people. That's totally normal. But one of the things that I do too is I'm really goofy. And you know this about me. I'm very, very goofy. I grew up in a very goofy home, and I think that part of the goofiness came from, just trying to shun us from the outside world. A lot of bad things were going on at the time. So my mom was like just trying to be goofy all the time and playful. And she also owned a Halloween store. I remember her first business that I can remember from a young age was she owned a Halloween store. So I remember we would put grab bags together with all of these fun little items, and there was she had magic stuff, magic, those magic boxes, like learn how to do magic, do magic tricks, learn here, magic cards, things like that. She had a part of her costume store. I think it was more of a costume store than a Halloween store because it was a year-round thing, but I think at that young age, we all used to play around in that store. We would put on masks and we would pretend we were this people and that person. And it was a very fun, magical place. So in our family, when we have to take group pictures, everybody has to make a freaking face for some reason. Now, I used to do it a lot, but as I gotten older, I was just like, okay, I kind of want to have like a nice smile in this picture. But my sisters still as soon as you say cheese, boom, they got the tongue out, the weird eyes, and it kind of pisses me off, to be honest, even though I used to do it all the time. But I started thinking about that. I was like, okay, so maybe that kind of pisses me off now, but I am really, really goofy. I like to play around all the time. When I meet people, I like to make them feel uncomfortable because not on purpose, just because I want to like make the weirdness go away between us immediately. Like I want to show them like you are in good company. I'm not going to judge you. I'm going to love you right where you're at. I don't know you, but we're going to be friends if I like you. And if you like me, we're going to become besties. You know what I mean? Like I try to make people feel comfortable as soon as possible. And I think part of that is being playful like immediately.
See, this is why we're besties because I love being playful. That is the one thing I told my husband just the other day. I said, I'm a playful person. I love playing. I think it's fun to be a kid. And I miss actually being a kid. And so to be able to do that with my own children, and I love that you continue to do it. You and Rob are playful. I see you guys. I see how playful you guys are. One of my favorite images or videos that you sent to me was you and your sister running in a shark costume. You were racing in a freaking shark costume. And I thought, oh my gosh, she's my tribe. I love her because that was hilarious. And I love it. I love being weird. I don't mind. And that's why I struggled with this concept because I don't think it's weird. I think it's like just normal. And so I'm like, I don't do, doesn't everybody do sound effects? I mean, doesn't everybody dress in costume? And I love that your mom had a costume store. That is awesome because I love costumes. I love just being able to dress up and be somebody that you're not for a moment. And your alter ego comes out. And I think being weird and unique in that way is awesome because your true inner self comes out.
Yeah, I kind of feel bad for people who don't have that level of awkwardness and embracing that because you know who they are because you get into a room and there, let's just say there's a group of people and all of a sudden you start being weird and funny and quirky and then they're the quiet ones. They're sitting there. Now, it doesn't mean, I don't think it doesn't mean that they don't embrace their playfulness. I think that sometimes people are a little bit more conservative or they're reserved or they're scared or they feel like they're being what is it, overshadowed or overshunned. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like where they feel smaller when somebody bigger with bigger energy comes in the room. And I remember, here's the thing though, I remember seeing people like that, and I used to downplay myself. I used to start bringing my light down for them to make them feel as equals. I used to do that a lot, and then people started pointing it out to me. And my mom is the one who said, baby, I didn't raise you like that. You don't do that. You don't lower your light for nobody. You don't, she goes, what they do is them. If they got issues, that's for themselves to work on. You keep shining bright. And I remember that was permission for me at that time to go, okay, you know what? She's right. I've done the work to get to where I'm at. They've got to do their own work too. But I love them right where they're at. You know what I mean?
Girl, your mom is awesome. I love that your mom inspired you, encouraged you, empowered you, because that is huge. You are so fortunate to have a mom that empowers you to be you. I had a mom, still have a mom. I have a mom that told me you can be anything that you want to be. She didn't put me down in terms of my own weirdness but she always told me you can be whatever you want to be. And I appreciate that about her. But I do know what you mean about matching the vibe because when there's somebody that's kind of conservative and just quiet, then I do match their vibe. And I think I match their vibe because I don't want them to feel uncomfortable or I don't want them to have to pretend to be somebody they're not. But it's funny, guy, because I'm kind of pretending to be somebody I'm not, right? When I match their vibe.
Dang, girl, my job. That was whoa right there. Okay. Listen, I get there's a time and a place for when you do have to like kind of tone yourself down because there are places you need to do that. But I want to say we're not talking about those places right now, but what you just said, January, makes a lot of sense. And I feel like now that's going to stick in my head. I love that. That was a big mic drop. But okay, so here's another one. Here's another one. I just have to bring this out because I hear it so often. People that wash their clothes and don't fold them or don't dry them and fold them, or at least dry them but don't fold them and put them away right after. I didn't realize like how big of a thing that is, where they actually, I've seen memes about it. I've seen them make fun of people who do it because they think those people are making fun of them for not doing it. And I've realized I did a poll amongst my sisters. You know, I had to. And I said, how many of you actually fold your clothes and put them away right after you wash them? And I was shocked that none of them did. So I realized I'm the what is it? The minority in there? I don't know the right
The
word to say.
anomaly. You're
I'm
the
the
anomaly.
anomaly. Yes, I'm the anomaly because I thought there's actually more people that fold their clothes and put them away, which actually turns out there's actually a larger number that don't do that, and there's a smaller number who do that. And that's the weird. That's the weird. I'm the weird.
Look,
But
but
it's a
I'm
weird, it's a
proud of,
good weird. It's a good weird.
yeah, no, I'm proud of you because that being the anomaly in that is awesome because a lot of us,
I said minority. I just got a
oh,
anomaly. Okay.
but yes, but I am that person that will wash, dry, and then just leave it for a little bit. There are moments where I will wash, dry, and then fold. But that would have to be super intentional of me. Okay, so it was intentional of me December 31st. So December 31st, I'm like, I need to do this. And so I did on that day. However, normal days, like today, I see bags of laundry and there's moments that I just sift through. I'm like, okay, what do I want to wear today? But yes, that is, I know it's strange. It's strange,
Yeah,
but
it's like your weirdness with that, and then my weirdness with it. It's very two unique. Here we go, unique weirdnesses. For me, I have to do it. Just like I have to make my bed in the morning. First thing in the morning, my bed has to be made. My clothes, my laundry goes in, they get washed, dried, taken out, folded, and put away right away. I cannot go on with my day without with clothes that are not folded and put away. I will if I leave the house like that, let me tell you something. The world will end. I will not be able to think about anything else, nothing else besides doing that. Same thing with the bed. If the bed is left unmade, oh my gosh, you will see me not in my best performance. I'm telling you, if you go, Helen, what is wrong? And I go, nothing's wrong, everything's fine. And you see sweat coming down from my face and you see my lip quivering, it's because the bed wasn't made and the clothes weren't folded and put away, okay?
okay, look, I do know about the bed, and I know your thing about the bed. I have the same thing about my bed. My bed always has to be made before I do anything else that has to be made. And I do know what you say about like the clothes. So my thing is feet. Like I do not like dirty feet. That is probably like I just like just thinking about it, I'm like I gotta wash my feet. And there are people out there and it's totally fine because that you do you, boo. Okay, you do you. But for me, like I do not want to go into my bed with dirty feet. I do not want to go on my couch with dirty feet because that is just oh for me, that is just nasty. So I always have to wash my feet.
Okay, so question, because I'm the same with feet, but I don't have to wash them before I get in the bed because I'm always wearing house shoes. I always have house shoes on. And if I don't, oh my gosh. So Rob, my husband, he likes to take my pair of house shoes. Like yes, I got him his own pair of girl. Let's show him, okay? Yeah, so me and January right now are showing each other our house shoes in the video. But so I got Rob his own pair. But for some reason, he gets mine and takes off. And so I'm sitting on the couch, and as soon as I'm about to go, okay, I'm gonna go to the kitchen, I gotta get something. I look down and my slippers are gone, girl. Let me tell you, I am like, Rob, where's my shoes at? Because he knows, and he knows he's guilty right away because I can hear him trying to come back real fast. Here's your shoes, like.
So, so cute. That is so cute. I do know about house shoes. So here in Hawaii, whenever you come here to Hawaii, you are not allowed to wear your shoes in the house. It is just a no, no. You need to take off your shoes outside and walk bare feet. So when you go to other people's house and you are walking bare feet, right? And so sometimes I'm like a little weird by that because I love wearing my house slippers. So I do wear my house slippers just in a few days, though, I did take my house slippers off and I took it off because I'm like, I feel like I need to feel the floor or I need to feel something because that's always house slippers. But I totally know about the house slippers. I have to have it on. Otherwise, it just feels weird. Maybe that's weird to other people.
Maybe, but you're embracing it. Twinkle, twinkle. Okay, sparkle, sparkle. Okay, let's talk about one of our favorites, food. Okay, so I'm going to share one of my weirdness and quirkiness is, I guess I can say awkwardness is about food. I'm a texture person. So, for example, a cherry pie. I don't like cherry pie with the cherries in the pie. So if so Rob brought home a cherry pie, a big cherry pie, with whipped cream, and I was excited because if you warm it up, it's really good. So he cuts his piece and he puts it on his plate, and then I cut my piece and I put mine on my plate. And he goes, "Well, what are you doing?" Because he sees me with a spoon scraping all the cherries out of all the insides out. And I said, "Well, I'm taking all the cherries out. Do you want them?" He goes, "Yeah, but you're missing the point. That's cherry cake." And I said, "No, the cherry sauce is like, it's all in there. I'm just taking out the cherries and most of the sauce. I cannot have a clobber of sauce and cherries, and it's too much syrup for me." So it's funny because he took pictures of it with just the pie with nothing in it, scraped out. I like to eat pie like that.
Cherry pie. I think you like to eat cherry pie like that, correct? Yeah, okay, I thought so. Because I'm very similar to the cherry pie because just the thought of the little balls in there, that is the one cherry pie, that is the one pie that I'm like, I don't know what it is about the balls, but I'm like, let me just, because I don't really care for, I will eat a cherry pie just like just the thing, the filling or like the jam or whatever, like that's fine. But something about the balls, I don't know what it is too, but I don't really care for cherry pie unless and I'm not a picky eater, but that's the one thing that I'm like, oh, I gotta take that thing out. Apple pie, other pies I'm fine with, but
Nope,
that's just
the apple's got to be taken out.
really.
Yes, yeah, the apple's got to be taken out. Banana pie's okay unless there's a pieces of banana in there. That's got to be taken out. I think anything that has like clumpy, wet fruits, I got to take out. Yeah, I don't know. And same thing with noodles. I'm really, really picky about the noodles. If the noodles are in the water for too long, they they kind of increase in their size, and the texture on my mouth doesn't like the filling of that. It's, you know what I mean? Like it has to be the perfect noodle, the perfect noodle size, rice noodles, things like that. I'm very, very peculiar with that.
Yeah, I totally get it about the noodles because so when I go to a ramen or pho place and I'm eating, I when I take it home, I separate the noodles from the soup. Because I know that if the soup was in there, the noodles would expand and it'd be gushy. And so you're right. I do not like that gut,
Oh
like
my
just
gosh, just hearing you talk about it makes you sound so weird, but in a really fun way. I'm like, there's the weirdness. There it is. Okay, so here's another thing too. I don't like listening to people eat or drink. I've always been like that. There's actually a term for it. I did not know it. I'll get the term here in a second, but I get really annoyed. My brain feels like there's some type of static electricity that is kind of.
it's not. It's like nails on
Yes.
chalkboard.
Yes, it's like hands on a chalkboard, which is another thing which I think a lot of people have. But with the food thing, listening to people eat or guzzle their drink is so hard for me. So one of the things I have to have is I have to have music playing in the background if we're at a dinner table, or we got to be talking. There's got to be a flow of talking that overshadows me hearing you eat or drink something, or the TV's got to be on. It's just in silence. If I hear your throat devouring something, I kind of freak out a little bit. I won't show it. Like I will hardly say anything, but inside my mind, I'm like, oh my God, please, 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 hurry up, you know?
That is fascinating. I did not know that about you. So when you and I go out to dinner, I will be sure to put headphones on you. And I'll play music for you while I eat my dinner. Okay, so the other thing that I don't, not about food, because I will eat anything. I grew up with a family that tends to explore like every types of food. So I've eaten all sorts of different things. I think the only food that I probably will not eat again because I don't care for it is diniguan. So diniguan, otherwise known as chocolate meat, for all you people out there that don't know what that is. I don't care for it. And a lot of Filipinos love diniguan. My sister loves it. I don't know who else of my sisters love it, but I know one of my sisters love it. And I've tried it 4 or 5 times and I'm like, no, it's not really my favorite. So I will not eat that. But I will share this. Another thing that don't like is tapping. When people
Mm.
tap me, I don't know what it is, but I'm like, oh, please don't do that. That's annoying to me.
Ooh, I want to get back to that tapping thing because, but before I do, so the condition that I was talking about, the annoyance of hearing people eat or drink, is actually called misophonia. It's a condition that causes people to be hypersensitive to certain sounds, including those of people eating and drinking. People with misophonia may experience a strong emotional reaction to these sounds, such as anger or a desire to flee. That that is me, and I didn't even know there was a name for it. So what are the triggers for misophonia? Chewing or eating loudly, drinking, water dripping, tapping nails, crinkling paper, certain keyboard sounds, breathing, and even yawning.
Breathing, breathing, and even yawning. That's crazy. Misophenia. Okay, I learned something new today.
Misophonia. Is that
Misophonia. Misophonia.
misophonia? Yeah.
Fascinating. Well, I know somebody that is afraid of ketchup and like deathly afraid of ketchup because that person starts sweating and crying when that person sees ketchup. It's quite fascinating. I'm not really sure. There is a condition for that too.
Yeah, I don't know where it came from. I don't know why I am like this. I heard my niece is like this too, but I didn't even know there was a term for it until I looked it up and I was just curious. And then I was like, oh my gosh, this is me. And I've just learned to deal with it. And kind of like my mom says, well, when anything was wrong with us, she'd be like, learn to deal with it, learn to figure it out, learn to live with it. So that's kind of like the motto we grew up with. So now I just learn to listen to my husband breathing in my ear sometimes, but I still love him. So the getting back to the tapping on your shoulder. So that is a very unique and awkward thing for sometimes for people is touching, being touched.
Yeah, I don't mind the hugs, but for some reason the tapping is just the it makes me cringe. And I don't know where that came from, but it started ever since I was young and I just didn't like just like looking at it. I just want to gag. I don't know what
Your
it is.
face.
It's so crazy. I saw this video of this girl that does not like foam, and I don't like foam, like styrofoam, like oh, just like I was just thinking about it. It just makes me, and she had a really bad reaction to it. I mean, I had a reaction, but her reaction was like she just was like convulsing,
Yeah,
and it's crazy. I don't know why people have that kind of quirkiness about them, but they do.
Rob
And
has that. Rob has the cotton. He cannot touch cotton.
like cotton balls.
Like cotton balls. Nope.
Wow,
It,
what does it, why? It's so sad.
he kind of has the same response that you had with your face going "Ugh, ugh." Like he does not like that. And he doesn't like the word pet peeve. The word, the actual word itself, pet peeve, makes him cringe. But,
Mm.
again, these are some very unique and interesting things about people. And I've learned to just embrace it and be like, okay, just make sure if something happens, I don't run and go, let me grab a cotton ball for you. So I don't do that. So my thing with touch, though, I have a weirdness about it too. I don't like being touched unless it's like a massage that I've agreed to, a hug. Like I like to bring it in for hugs. I do like hugging. Hugging is safe for me, especially around friends or family or even strangers if it's my first time meeting them and I feel like, oh, we should hug. I'm not afraid of that. But I actually had to work up to that in my life because I was always somebody who's like, do not touch me. I do not like to be touched. I always had like a huge wall up. But I think part of that also came from childhood trauma. And now that I've gotten older, I'm still just very weird about people touching me. Like a massage therapist, I'm very like picky about which massage therapist I get, and how she touches me. I'm very like communicative about it too. And then also with my hands, full circle, going back to the beginning, the lotion thing. I have to have lotion on my body, but I cannot have lotion on the inside of my palm. So it can be on the outside of my hand, but as soon as it gets on the inside, I have to wash it off. And it's kind of like sometimes I'll wash just the inside of my palms, just so that way the lotion stays on the outer part of my hand.
Look, I get it. I get it because it feels weird. Like, because we use a lot of our hands for opening doors, for writing, for typing, for all this stuff. And to have lotion on there, I totally understand. I understand. And I love this episode and I love it because we're talking about our weirdness, our quirkiness, our just things that make us tick, but we're embracing all of the things that may not be normal to another person, but it's normal for us. And I love that we're embracing it. I'm going to
Yeah.
therapy. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I agree with that. Um, you're right. We're embracing it, or we're still working on embracing it because some of it's just hardwired in our life. It works for us. It works to put lotion on and then wash it off our hands. It works to fold the clothes and throw them on the bed and never touch them for like a day or two. And sometimes it works to fold them and put them away right away. It's just what works for us and makes our life feel balanced. And sometimes what works for some people doesn't work for others, you know? So it's very interesting how we all are very unique in that way.
And I think that it's hard for some people, it's hard to understand the standards of another person. And oftentimes we are so quick to judge and we're so quick to say, why did they do it that way? And why do they not like it this? But I'm learning that it's okay. It's okay for that person to be that weird, quirky self. So there's this Netflix show called You Can't Say That, or You Can't Ask That. I don't know if you've watched it, but it's called You Can't Ask That. Watch it. It's on Netflix. I enjoy it. The reason why I enjoy it is because these are these are questions that often people have in their mind, and then now they're actually like certain people are being asked it. There's certain groups of people that get interviewed, and these are crazy questions like okay, so I'm explaining what the show is. The question is your dick really that big? So that's one of the questions. There's other crazy
I
questions.
did not expect that.
You have to watch it. It's great. But it'll show the weirdness and the quirkiness of people. And for me, I'm learning to just accept people where they are at. Watch that show. You can't ask that. It will
Okay.
actually make you cringe. Certain things will make you cringe. It's a crazy show. So you should watch it.
And that, my friends, is what we should wrap this up with. Go watch that show and also embrace who you are. Get to know yourself. Have these conversations with yourself. Like, who are you? What I did to prepare for this episode is I decided to bring out my notes on my phone because I can be anywhere and get on my phone and write down or type out weird things about myself that I am aware of. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I've got a list." And really, this is a good time because when you list them out and you get to see them, you start laughing at yourself like, "Oh my gosh, I'm actually really funny. I'm cute. I like that about myself. Ooh, I don't really like that about myself. That's something I'm going to work on." Or this is just me. This is who I am. This is how I'm going to be. And fuck it. Let's ride or die with this quirky. Let's ride or die with this awkwardness. And it's part of who you are, part of what makes you up, part of your human experience. It's quite fascinating. Like January said, I actually learned some things about her that is going to probably keep me laughing for a couple days. And I really, really enjoyed this very fun and playful episode.
I enjoyed it as well. And I wanted to share that I am in therapy. I think therapy is amazing. I think all of us should be in therapy. And my therapist and also the mind engineer, I did mention him multiple times. They're both talking about the same things. Two different levels of practices, but they're saying the same things. And what they're saying is embrace you, embrace all of you, the negative and the positive, because that is all that makes who we are, the good and the bad and the ugly. And it's okay. It's okay. And that's probably why when we were talking about weird, I'm like, I don't know what's weird. It's normal to me, you know? And I hope that one day you will see whatever those quirkiness or weirdness or awkwardness that you view as being weird. I hope one day you view as that's just a part of me and that's okay. It's okay. But thank you all for listening to us. I have enjoyed this podcast. This was so much fun. I love being playful. I love being playful. So, with that said, you can find me JanuaryLiddell.com. That's January like the month, the 8th January, and then Liddell, Liddell.com. I'm on Facebook, Anchored Financial LLC, and that's Facebook and Instagram. And then another Instagram, Facebook, because I wrote a children's book about financial literacy, Alina, Alina, the Honeymaker, on Facebook and Instagram. Helen, where can we find you?
Yes, you can find me Hell of a Journey. That's HELOFA, the word journey, or Sexy Freedom Media, or Google my name, Helen Edwards, and write Nothing Sexier Than Freedom. Everything about me will pop up, including my best-selling book, Nothing Sexier Than Freedom, which you can find on Amazon and Audible. Please follow us. Please share this episode and please leave us a review. This helps other people find our podcast, find our show, and helps them brighten their day as well. So thank you so much and tune in for next time. Ahia.
Aloha.
Want to hear more?
Visit us at sexyfreedommedia.com.